Conversation good. Go live and right now.
All right, let's let people in. The floor is yours, Issa.
Oh, all right. All right. Well, hello, Facebook. Again, thanks for joining day 3 of 12 Days of Autumn. We are here today with Hispanic Hackers, and we're going to have a great event today talking about entering and excelling in the technology industry. So, without further ado, I do want to go ahead and introduce my partner here, James.
Hi, all. I'm James. I am a board member for Hispanic Hackers. Been with them for a little bit over a year now.
Okay, thank you. And so I'm also here with Autumn, as you know, Austin Urban Technology Movement, as the program director, here to make sure we put together curated events such as this, share information about different people's careers to elevate your experience in the technology industry. Also, if you do not know, the 12 Days of Autumn is going on between now and the 18th. So make sure you check out autmtx.org/events to get a full listing of our events. You can go ahead and use the links there to register for the events that are connected to Eventbrite. But we have a full schedule to keep you busy during these COVID days. So if everybody is ready, we can go ahead and move on to our speakers here. Before we do that, I want to make sure everybody knows the event flow. There will be some switching and moving around. We're going to use the tool for breakout rooms. More instructions will be shared with you a little later. Don't want to provide, just too much information. Just want to focus on the panel conversation as of now. But those of you who signed up ahead of time for the interviews, we have your names. We'll have you for the interview one. And then everybody else will be choosing between the resume and the resume workshop and the technology showcase. Like I said, we'll share more information later, but now to our guests. All right, a little bit more about me, but in terms of our guests, our first panelist is Karlos. Karlos, do you mind sharing a little bit about yourself? You're still on mute, Karlos.
Thank you. Appreciate that, Issa. My name is Karlos. Nice to meet everyone. I'm an Austinite, born and raised first and foremost. I come from a Hispanic and Black family. And so growing up mixed in Austin, I'm really focused on trying to do more in the community. So I'm really excited to be here with the Autumn panel, sharing some of my experiences, with more than 20 years in technology here in the Austin area. I know a lot of people, some connections, and looking forward to sharing that with you today.
Great. Thanks. Glad to have you. Next, we have Morgan.
Hi, everyone. Thanks, Issa, for having me. Thank you, Autumn, for having me. My name is Morgan Burgess. My day job, I am an associate product manager for Goldman Sachs. And my big passion project is having the honor of being Vice President of Technology for Autumn, the Austin Urban Technology Movement. I don't have half as much experience as Karlos. I'm only ranking in at 8 years in the technology industry. So hopefully I'll get my 10-year chip soon, fingers crossed. But just like Karlos, I'm excited to be here to give back to my Austin community and provide any kind of knowledge and help that I can to get you all to excel and enter the technology industry.
Awesome, glad to have you, Morgan. And Sara.
Hi, everyone. Good evening, and thank you so much, folks, for having me this evening. So I am an engineer, an engineering lead. I also have my own company where we develop mobile apps. I've been working here in Austin in technology for about 6 years, so I guess that makes me the most junior member here on the panel. I've been working since 2015, so about 5 years also, with Women Who Code Austin. And I've also done some events with Hispanic Hackers. It's a great group here in town. And I am really excited to chat with y'all. One of my favorite things about technology is working with folks who are trying to figure out what their path is going to look like as they try to either change careers or get their first job here in the technology sector, whether that's for engineering or user experience or any of the myriad other types of jobs. So I'm happy to be here. Feel free to reach out to me on Twitter if you have any questions. You can see my handle there at the end of my bio. Thank you so much.
Thank you, all of you for joining us. Again, we love to have our panelists to give just an insight on the conversation that we have today, and I think we have the best representation here today. So to kick it off, I wanted to ask you a couple of questions to get the conversation started. And the topic of the event was the conversation about the experience of the Black and Hispanic person in the technology industry. And so with that, we all know we face, some challenges. And I wanted to go through and get some challenges and experiences you face personally as a Black Hispanic professional in the tech industry. And this could be during entering or while you're getting a promotion or however it applied to you. Karlos?
Thanks, Isa. So I think the biggest challenge for me in my career was that I did that. There we go.
There we go.
So I think the biggest challenge for me in my technology career was I didn't know how to make the shift from a task-based role worker to a leadership role position. I mean, I constantly sought out that leadership role, but it always kind of avoided me somehow. I worked hard, I worked smart, but I think the biggest thing that I've learned kind of in my career journey that was a challenge was that my cultural background kind of didn't lend to a lot of business forward thinking. So how to plan out and strategize from a 50,000 foot level. I was always down at the ground level, moving the pieces. I never really stuck my head up enough to be seen. And so to do that, ask yourself a couple questions. How many of your own ideas are you implementing in your company? Do you know the value you're generating when you're doing, the role that you take? So that leadership piece always challenged me. And I guess until like the 40s, I didn't realize, that it was myself holding me back. I didn't see that part. And so the part that I'd like to, let everyone know is, man, take a risk, get out of your comfort zone and push yourself further than you think you can go.
Thank you. I definitely resonate with that first part. You don't know when to go from, individual contributor to, manager or leader. It's like, when does that happen? What about you, Morgan?
Similar to Karlos, kind of upon entering the tech industry, one of my favorite phrases is you don't know what you don't know. And I didn't have exposure to all of the diverse niches that were available in the tech industry, or even having the knowledge that you can make positions your own as long as you leverage your skills and your capabilities. It's not that people aren't willing to help, but you don't know what questions to ask at first. And being a Black woman, it was oftentimes just me as a woman in the room, and then compounded by being a Black person in tech. So it was difficult to kind of find my footing and figuring out where I would fit in the technology industry. Specifically for a promotion is not knowing exactly what my rubric was, not knowing how to account for my work in a way that was going to be beneficial for leadership. Like you, Karlos, it was all right, I have a 13 slide PowerPoint to justify all the work that I've been doing for the past year. But if my metrics don't match up with what my management or leadership are looking at, I could have done all of the tedious tracking in the world for a year, but it wouldn't have mattered. So it's important to ask those questions and come in understanding that everyone starts at ground zero. And just take a risk.
That's a good point. Yeah, if you don't know what you don't know, how can you progress? Yeah, I understand what that feels like. And Sara?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard to follow, but I did kind of want to riff off something that Morgan said. I think my biggest challenge was kind of similar, just always being the only one. So no one in my family works in technology. It was my third career, and I kind of self-taught. So it was really just kind of a matter of really trying to find peers And I found that everyone says to find a mentor, but when you're a woman engineer, that's a lot easier said than done. And so I think what I would say is, it's also hard to find templates, right? Kind of similar to what Morgan and Karlos were saying, where if no one in your family's done it, you don't really know people like you, like, how do you get there? Right. And so what I would say is, what was really helpful to me was doing exactly what y'all are doing here, right? Like really starting to find community and build relationships with people. And I would say some of the best mentors I've ever had were some of my peers. So I think we think of mentorship as something that's kind of like a, hierarchical, but I think the best mentorship that I had was more on a peer basis. And so yeah.
Definitely get that. And then not to count, not to mention all the different office politics, and if you don't know what you don't know, you feel like you don't want to ask. You want to ask all the questions you can, but you don't want to ask so much, make it seem like, well, why even hire you? Like it's definitely can be an intimidating situation. I get all of that. So could you share? Essentially, the questions are very similar. But if there was any very particular issues you had moving into the next, I know for Sara moving into engineering, Morgan, you're moving into leadership and deciding or not, and Karlos, same with you. Is there any particular issues you've had being, outside of being a woman, but being a Black or Hispanic person, and that you saw in the office, vividly? How did you handle that? Was it an HR issue? Was it something you just had to discuss with a mentor who maybe was older than you, that kind of knew kind of the environment? How did you approach those particular situations? Morgan.
Okay.
Thanks. It took a lot of time to be comfortable with myself. There is a lot of value in bringing your personality to work. Oftentimes we think we can't bring our full selves. And of course, we can sit in our pajamas all day long behind a Zoom screen, and entertain our workflows and attend meetings, but we still kind of feel like we're walled off. I can't be my true self. I can't be as happy. I can't be as, let's say I can't be as sad at work. I can't be me. And oftentimes we forget that people hire you for that personality. And as a Black woman, I used to spend a lot of time muting myself to not be intimidating or not to come across as, let's say, too firm or too aggressive. And oftentimes in speaking with leadership, that's exactly why they put me on projects. That's exactly why they wanted my voice, because I would be the person to ask questions and the person to be innovative and creative. So when it came to getting a promotion, it was really just being comfortable with why I was there and why the opportunities were given to me, because you work hard. We work hard. We as Black and Hispanic people in tech, it's not easy for us. I, like you, Sara, am self-taught. And without, a heck of a lot of determination and some blessing with some great mentors, wouldn't be here today. And it's great to acknowledge that, not to brag, but to give yourself credit, because you wouldn't be asking for things if you didn't work for them.
Definitely, yeah. Sara, I mean to cut you off earlier. You had a response?
Yeah, no, absolutely, Morgan. Everything you said, +1 to all of that. But I think, kind of continuing on what we were saying, I think for me, there were a couple of really big challenges, because as an engineer, the kind of engineering that I do, right? Like there's different types of technical jobs, but, you really it's really difficult to find that first job. And then once you get, 2 years under your belt, you're like, great, I can get these mid-level jobs pretty easily. But when you want to be at the table making decisions, when you want to be like making that 6-figure salary plus, you need to be at a certain level. And I think the hard thing for me was figuring out, what do I have to do to get to that level? Because there's so many variables, and then there's this corporate thing, and then there's this like mid-level thing, and there's startups. And so like, how do I get to be senior in a way that's kind of like acceptable across all of these different, that was really, I think that the challenge that I had. And so, for folks who are interested in, not in seeking promotions, what I would say is, you know, that's what I would, if I could go back in time, I would say, like, look at the job descriptions, like ask hiring managers, like anytime you meet someone who manages people, ask them, because there are some commonalities between like junior, mid, and senior, right? So, you know, in as far as, you know, those challenges. But then the other thing that I think was difficult for me, because as I mentioned, this is my third career, and the other careers I had weren't necessarily, well, they were somewhat, but I think technology has this very unique thing where, like, you know, if you've been at the same job for, I don't know, a certain number of years and you keep not getting a promotion, you can leave and you can go make several tens of thousands of dollars more somewhere else, and you get that title change, you know? And for me, that was a challenge too, of just like, I'm just going to quit this job after like a year and a half or whatever. And that's something that you can do. And, you know, unfortunately, the different ways that tech, you know, recruits and manages people really encourages that as well. So I think that those are a couple of other things I wanted to add.
Thank you, thank you. And Karlos, do you have a comment here?
I did. For me, it was coming up is that, you know, I swear I'm that full-time college student that still hasn't graduated. So without that college degree, making that shift, as Sarah was saying, to that six-figure salary, you know, it was actually really challenging. It was like, how do I validate that I know what I know and that I'm just as good as, you know, a person that has a college degree? Because I just didn't have the patience to sit there and do it. Like, I couldn't do it.
That's right.
But I focused on computer certifications. So I think I got my first one back in 1998. So I'm dating myself big time. But from that time, I stopped for a little bit. And since 2011, I've gotten 3 a year. And I've watched my salary go up by 20, 25% every time that those 3 come in. Like, it really made a difference for me. And you can't just get the cert and say, man, pay me. You got to have some knowledge to back it up. So you really got to get in there and find a niche where you see an opportunity coming in the future and you could get ahead of what's coming. So you have to kind of strategize as well with how you're making your, you know, getting into the industry is, you know, don't get into the side to what's ending, which is now, let's say, computers on premises, where things are moving towards cloud. So, you know, figure out that you're going to study cloud, and that way, as growth happens, you position yourself to be right where the sweet spot is for salary, promotions, and getting into tech.
No, I like how you mentioned that, Elise, if you're gonna get into something new that you're not really familiar with, to have a foothold in, make sure you're studying the right content and something that's forward thinking, because you could get stuck. I totally get what you're saying. There's a lot of people who are still working on premise. And for people who don't know what on-premise is, that's basically anything not in the cloud. So like your desktop, you know, having the computer that actually is there on the property in a physical space. So, you know, studying or focusing all of your time on technology that is not essentially dying off, but will become obsolete soon, will get you stuck. So definitely agree with that. Thanks for that opinion or that comment. So Morgan's probably easy answer for you. I already know your answer, but the three of you support or actively participate in any diversity and inclusion initiatives or organizations geared towards increasing Black and Hispanic population in the tech industry? And if you do, what are some successful initiatives or best practices, or maybe favorite projects that you've worked on?
Ooh, since this one is easy for me, I'll go ahead and get my answer out.
You're cheating. No, I was kidding.
If you all can't tell, I am part of the Austin Urban Technology Movement, and our entire goal is to get people that look like me, people that look like Karlos, people that look like Sara, and people that look like you watching this into the tech industry. I'm also a part of the Women in Engineering Network at Goldman. I'm part of the Black Network at Goldman, and I'm also part of the Black Analyst and Associate Initiative. All of those things are geared towards making environments more welcoming and increasing employee retention when it comes to, and I'm part of the Hispanic and Latinx Network at Goldman Sachs, because we have friends everywhere. But they're all geared towards getting people that look like us, people that are interested in excelling and just want to get that foothold in that mentorship in that community. So yes, I am involved, very, very heavily involved. I've got my fingers in lots of pots. One of my favorite initiatives that's come from the Black Network at Goldman is our language transformation when it comes to coding and programming. We revealed it, they were talking about it actually earlier this week, and we're starting to transform how we talk or our terminology. So instead of whitelisting and blacklisting, we are talking about allow lists versus block lists or deny lists. And meaning whitelisting is, long story short, it's a list of email addresses, domains that we put things on that say you can access this. Long story short. So instead of associating the negative or positive connotations of black and white for allow versus deny, we're transforming that. And even in programming for master and slave tasks, we are transforming those to primary and secondary tasks. And there's also a call to action for managers to reach out to their reports and their colleagues to talk about the language that they're using and how that's impacting our work and how it's impacting how we perceive and interact with others. It's amazing. I was pretty much blown on the floor when they revealed it. And it's incredible because it shows how intentional, how it shows just what organizations in companies that are geared towards D&I can do when they've got the support and they've got the backing.
Definitely. It's not just performative, measure. It's things that are actually used on a daily basis, affects the people that, you're targeted, affects everyone past that too, but it's definitely something that's very impactful. I like that. Karlos, do you have any organizations that you support or any projects that you'd like to share?
I do. So I guess, first of all, like my wife and I have our own company. Just once you get past a certain level, you're going to start your own business. You're just going to do it. It's like a side hustle or something.
Well, excuse us.
I just think so. I hear everybody else has one too on this panel. So I guess I love blinky, flashy things, electronics, if you will, whether it's computers or whatever. So my goal is to teach people Internet of Things. So my last major initiative was I sought a contract with the Parks and Recreation Department here in Austin to start an IoT after school program here at community centers. And so I did my first session, I guess it was 2019. And unfortunately, I haven't been able to do any this year, but that's been like the most challenging thing I've ever done in my life was go try to motivate kids to do more and learn about electronics and tech, because that's like going to be the future as we begin to collect data and automate things, small electronics collecting bits of data, sending it to the internet. And from there, it's just kind of limitless potential of what you can do with that data. So I like that program. I do a lot of makerspace communities, so 3D printing, obviously taking that electronics to the next level. I built a couple courses on it for my own company. So I'm really passionate about things that talk to the internet and sharing that with the community.
You can go ahead and have a shameless plug and tell us what the name of the company is.
So back in the day when me and my wife were first getting together, her name's Stacy, my name's Karlos. It's just a simple S&K Tech. That's what we do. But you'll see us at Maker Fairs here in Austin. I host an Austin Arduino meetup group. We used to do some giveaways, and you'll find me there most of the time.
That's awesome. I've heard of Maker Fairs. I saw, I think, a segment on it on either KERA or I forget, but they are very interesting. I really like, the work that they do to get students involved and literally go in and put, hands-on activities. So thank you for contributing to that.
Yeah.
And Sara?
Yeah, that's really cool, Carlos. Just kind of really making me think. I've always thought that Arduinos were cool, but I've never used it. And thank you so much, Morgan, for sharing your thoughts or your experiences with the language stuff at Goldman Sachs. I absolutely agree that those changes from big corporate entities can really drive a lot of change industry-wide, and those are so important, and I really appreciate your work on that. So I've been working with Women Who Code, as I mentioned, and then Women Who Code is part of Austin, is part of a larger organization. But what I really appreciate about Women Who Code here in Austin is I think that what ends up happening is because the actual computer science numbers for women of color are so low, a lot of women come to technology after they've already gone through college. And so we actually have a pretty diverse group of ladies here in town who attend our meetups. And so we really kind of focus on, I would say, beginning or junior folks who are kind of trying to get into tech or in their first jobs. And we have a lot of like technical meetups. So for example, I run one for mobile engineering for React Native. And so those are kind of just like how to learn some skills and how to like improve your technical acumen. But we also have partnered with, as I mentioned, Hispanic Hackers and other groups here in town to put on events over the last 5 years, as I mentioned, that have been really impressive. The most recent one that we had, obviously COVID has affected our normal schedule, but we have a hackathon, the Austin Diversity Hackathon. We've been putting it on since 2016, I think, 2015. And what's been really incredible about putting on that event year after year is that people who were learning at the first event then later come and present, or people who win then later are now directors of Women Who Code, or people who like presented, you know, go on to go to a master's degree. And it's just been like so cool to see that those little pieces of community that we've been working to build do kind of have an effect and keep going. And I've also been lucky enough to, at some of the companies where I've worked, kind of help create an internship program or an apprenticeship program, and that's been really cool. We did manage to hire mostly people of color, which was awesome. And my company, I'm gonna also do a plug, my company, Tercera, we make mobile apps. We focus exclusively on communities of color, so we're specifically targeting companies in communities of color or you know, run by women. And we're having an apprenticeship program there where we're gonna try to like help folks, because getting that first job in tech is always the hardest, getting in the door, right? So really kind of the whole company is geared towards that particular business model of like bringing apprentices on board to help, you know, people build their apps so that, you know, they get their, they can get some really good hands-on technology training, and other folks get, you know, high quality mobile apps. So, so yeah.
That's awesome. I'm looking forward to the next hackathon or coding event. That is something I've always found intriguing, is to go through those, like the hackathon and the HBCU, Battle of the Brains, all those different events I've always been interested in. So definitely adding yours to my list. So next, is there a major demand for Black or Hispanic certified professionals in your respective fields? If so, please share examples of the popular means. And when I say that, I mean like getting certifications. Is there any training or apprenticeships that are preferred to help jumpstart that person in that career? Let's start with Sara.
Thank you. Yeah, so I would say that, you know, certainly as a proponent of, you know, diversity or inclusion or equity or whatever terminology we want to put around that, I would love to not be the only one, the only woman. I would love to not be the only Latina, you know, and so I think that there's that aspect to it. I think that, for example, one of my clients right now is a company from Mexico. And so the fact that I am, you know, professionally bilingual is really valuable. And my understanding from what they've been telling me is that a lot of folks in Mexico are getting hired by companies here because of the shortage of engineers here. So certainly there's a demand for Hispanic folks, especially folks who are bilingual in this industry. I would say, especially because, at least historically, Black and Hispanic folks have over-indexed on mobile app usage and mobile usage, because it's often the primary computer in their household, especially nowadays with the, you know, telecommuting and the telelearning. Absolutely think that more Black and Hispanic folks should be working in the mobile app space. There's not necessarily certifications, it's more of a practitioner. So if anybody ever has any questions about React Native, I'm your gal. Feel free to ping me on Twitter. I literally will answer questions from anyone who asks me. I just jumped on a Zoom call with someone I have never met last week to go over her code. So the other thing that I would say is I'm very interested in cybersecurity, and I'm sure Karlos can talk more about this, but especially in security, given that English is not the only language in the world, and that a lot of the election interference that we've seen has been focused on race relations, that unless we have Black and Hispanic folks in cybersecurity, we're never going to be able to be fully secure, because there's some things you just will not understand if you're a white man. So like literally having Black and Hispanic folks in security is essential to the safety of our country. So, and that has a bunch of certifications. I'm actually like just at the precipice of my like cybersecurity education, so I can't speak to that in much more detail. But there's a bunch of cybersecurity certifications you can go. I'm sure Carlos can talk about them. I'm sure he has collected them all. But that's another way to jumpstart your career in cybersecurity. Is you can say, hey, I'm gonna go for this certification, then there's like a path that you can go that you don't necessarily have to have a college degree or a master's degree if you got those certifications. So great. That's me. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. We definitely have a relationship with Austin Freenet, and there's a program that leads up to getting a cybersecurity certification. So we can share all that at the end. It's not about me right now. It's about Carlos. You mind going next, please?
Yes. So I guess I consider my domain, as I mentioned, I started IT a long time ago when there were physical servers that you had to put in racks and plug power and cables and things like that too. Yeah. And today it's a demand for Black and Hispanic certified professionals because of a lot of what Sara said. It's a diversity. People look at things from different ways. And I'm going to say that, when I was in school, I often just didn't want to get called on because my real name is Carlitos, and I didn't like the way a teacher said it. So I just kind of hide back in the back. And you learn to do that at work too. But man, when you can go out there and grab a certification. So I work for a company that our goal is to teach the world the cloud. We provide certification training, computer training, security training, and the world is shifting, and about 15% of businesses currently have made the move towards cloud. So at least 85% hasn't. And where the big opportunity comes in is that most engineers don't understand how to program. They don't understand how to code. And I've heard that word many times, that programming language is critical in today because things are shifting from a physical world to digital. And as you make that move, certifications, training, and that's all available on the internet that you can devote 1 or 2 hours a day to learning that new skill. And cloud, I will share it. Cloud is a way to really enhance your value pretty quickly in a company, especially if you understand how to talk about it from a point of culture, not just that you understand cloud, but bringing an environment to the whole organization that you want them to understand cloud. So a lot of that is you really got to get connected in a community when you're going to make this shift so that you capture everybody's point of view, just like they want to capture Black and Hispanic point of views in businesses.
Definitely sharing that. And about how many certifications do you have again? Because you're like our certification advocate here.
The funny thing about certifications is, like, for example, I focus right now on Google, so that they've changed throughout the years. I started with Microsoft, and then I moved to security, CISSP, and then I moved to Cisco, which is networking, and then I went to VMware, and then I went to a storage technology, then now I ended up in cloud. So it's a constantly evolving pace. So they expire like every 2 years. So I'm certified in 3 clouds: AWS, Google, and Microsoft. And I work for a company that does it. But since I build training materials, I don't honestly study as much as I used to because I'm taking in my own knowledge, processing that, and giving you a 10-minute course from 4 hours of learning. So you really get a bang for the buck. And I'm gonna pitch the company I work for is called A Cloud Guru. We want to make you a cloud guru. So check it out. There's a free program, and if you need a link, hit me up.
Thank you. And last but not least, Morgan.
Ooh, so I am going to do a shameless plug. I'm going to post this link in the chat. One, for the Autumn Learn application, because if you want to jumpstart your career, friends, we have a plethora, an unending plethora of learning paths for you, from cybersecurity to cloud to, I mean, friends, you name it. It feels like the Thanksgiving gift that we're all familiar with. But Autumn has learning paths, free 99, friends, for you to sign up with a profile and be able to track your learning progress and be able to present that to others and say, you know what, I've actually taken the time, like Karlos is saying, to educate myself on things to jumpstart the career. But I'm also one of the people that I'm not an either or person. I can do both. And tech is a wonderful career that's so diverse that you can kind of find that niche. Like Karlos was speaking to, being able to take technical features and being a transformation agent and being able to translate that into layman's terms. Before I was working at Goldman, I was the lead service adoption specialist for UT Austin. For students, faculty, and staff, meaning I was responsible for making sure we had a strategy around adopting Microsoft 365 applications and services, a strategy around training individuals, a strategy around wrapping our heads around this new product package of services, and how we were going to use that to transform ourselves. So being able to be that chameleon and adapting to the environment and what it needs, which I think Black and Hispanic and Latinx individuals, we are so skilled at doing it. We do it every day. We are the glue that holds everything together. We are the linchpin, for lack of a better word, and being able to say, you know what, I see this is a need. This is what's happening. Like, Sara, oh my gosh, friend, I need to get at you for some React stuff. I've got some notes. But being able to say, you know what, this is what my community needs. This is what my organization needs. This is how I can bring value. And then saying, you know what, let me just Google something. Let me ask someone the question. Let me try and start getting a foothold. It's okay to start at ground zero. And luckily, friends, there are people here to hold your hand from ground zero to getting you into that company, in that career, and making sure that you stay there and excel. Check out the Autumn Learn app. And if you want some friends in a community, guess what? Autumn has cohorts to help you. One of my favorites to talk about is the drone technology. Get at contact@autumntx.org to talk about the Autumn cohorts, and check out the Autumn Learn application to get started and jumpstart your career tonight.
Then you guys are shameless plug, Morgan. So no, thank you guys for all of your commentary. We actually are right on time with our panel discussion. For Facebook Live, this is a time where we're going to close the Facebook Live and move into our breakout sessions. And if you want to participate in the breakout sessions, you got to register on the Eventbrite. So go to autumntx.org/events, click on Entering Excelling in Tech. Eventbrite, register really fast. We'll bring you to the lobby. You tell us which room you want to go to. We'll assist you in that situation. But hurry and sign up, because we're going to have the link open for about 30 more minutes. Everyone else, we'll be moving you here shortly. But back to our Facebook audience, thank you for joining us. We definitely want to make sure you are staying informed, like Morgan said, with our Autumn app and information we share on our website regarding cohorts, relationships with other tech resources. But check out our website at autumntx.org just to get started. And honestly, all of our events are wrapped around our push for our Texas Technology for All petition, whether it be supplying devices, computers, laptops for those who are in need. Also, the actual technology and educational side. So we have these cohorts, we have certifications you can obtain, we have different badges you can obtain online. We want to make sure we pass that information on to get you into the tech field, educate you on what areas are available, and let you, run free in that area. And finally, making sure those job opportunities are on the other side of that educational side. So we have relationship with a lot of companies that are looking for people who are getting the certifications and are taking time to learn about the technology field. And know Autumn is one of the main resources for that. So make sure you get on our website, check it all out. All the information is there. And also make sure you go and sign the petition for Texas Technology for All. Thank you to everybody who has participated, from Hispanic Hackers, all of our Autumn members, to our panelists, Karlos, Morgan, and Sara. And to the breakout rooms, we have Let's Eat Grandma's going to do a resume workshop, and General Assembly actually has a gift for us. They both have a gift for us. Here in a second, I'll show you our discount code. As I mentioned before, Texas Technology for All, you can donate to our designated PayPal link, or you can go to Change website and sign there. If you have any questions, this FAQ information is on our website as well as on our Change page. And as a gift for everybody joining today, we have a gift for those who want to receive more services from Let's Eat Grandma, AUTM LEG 2020 for 50% off any of the packages. It expires next week, so get in there fast and get your services. And from General Assembly to all of our guests, you will receive a $99 credit off of any of the short form workshops. Make sure you sign up by January 1st. As long as you sign up by January 1st, whatever short form workshop you signed up for, you'll have access to it or have the $99 credit for it. So all that information is there. Don't forget to join us tomorrow. We have another event for day 4. It will be called the Talented 10th with Dr. Blue. She is a expert in the Talented 10th concept. If you want to do some research on your own, you can look that up. But if you want to join us tomorrow, learn about it yourself. From the source, Dr. Blue will be hosting the Talented 10th Establish Your Mindset, helping you through the leadership professionalism and having perseverance through the workforce, whether you're job hunting in the career field, trying to navigate the workplace, and also just everything that has happened since then with COVID. So register today, same place, autmtx.org/events has all of our links. So for right now, we're going to break off. Thank you, Facebook. Make sure you register. You got 30 more minutes, maybe till 7:10 to register. Thank you. Right. So we are no longer live. Whew. All right, everybody. We're going to start moving people around. You're going to start disappearing from our main room. That's fine. You're going to be moved. Those who assigned or selected to do the mock interview, session 1, you'll be moved into the room with James. I did want to show this portion. If you want to select, for those who did not select the interview, you have 2 options. You have the technology showcase, and you have the resume workshop. Right now, if you could please, I gave you an illustration of how to change your name. Add that word tech or resume to the end of your name. Takes a quick second. You just select participants, however you have it on your screen. Just look for the word participants. It'll show your name, rename yourself so that our host can start reassigning people over to those rooms. Takes a quick second. If you have any questions, put it here in the chat. We'll see it. But most likely, if you see the chat, you should see this option. All right, welcome back, everybody. Is everybody here? Still waiting on some folks.
Yeah, I got it.
There we go. Hey, what's up? Welcome back.
Hey.
We weren't interrupting anything. So thank you again for joining this event today. As I mentioned before on the Facebook Live, we do have several ways you can get involved and stay connected with us. Check out autumntx.org, autmtx.org if you're interested in any of our cohorts, if you're interested in volunteering, if you were wanting to learn more about some job opportunities we have on our page, as well as the app, the Learn app we have as well that Morgan mentioned earlier. This is a 12 Days of Autumn. This is day number 3. So make sure you go to autumntx.org/events to learn more about the rest of our events and register using the Eventbrite. And last but not least, one second. I'm Sorry, 1 second here. Okay. Oh, wrong way. We have some thank yous going on to our panelists. Thank you to Karlos, Morgan, and Sara. Y'all did an amazing job on the panel. Thank you for Let's Eat Grandma. Thank you for Matt for doing the resume review. Really appreciate that time going through those resumes and sharing your intel about that. As well as Hispanic Hackers in Autumn and General Assembly, we want to thank you because we have a gift coming up soon here in the end. Just as a reminder, getting involved with the technology, Texas Technology for All petition, you can sign a petition. We actually really look forward to getting our signatures up to 2,000. You can spread the word, share it on Instagram, share it on social media, anywhere that you're connected, and also donate. We have a special link for PayPal. Michael, if you could put that in the chat, that'll be great for the PayPal link to donate. But like I said, the point of the petition is to make sure we provide internet access, devices, the education, and the job opportunities for those who are underrepresented in the Black and Latinx community. So, okay, 1 second here. We want to share the discount code we have with Let's Eat Grandma. It's 15% off any of the main packages up until December 16th. That is next week. So make sure if you're going to use the code AUTMLEG 2020, make sure you use that before then. And then there's a $99 class credit from General Assembly for any upcoming short form workshops. And that covers, they have several different areas of tech that they talk about in their workshops that I think are very useful. Use the code AUTM99 by January 1st. As long as you sign up by January 1st, you'll have access to whatever workshop you signed up for. So thank you, General Assembly, for that. And then tomorrow, we have our day 4 of 12 Days of Autumn. Check out autmtx.org/events for all of our links to register for our events. We have Dr. Blue discussing the talented 10th concept and how to establish your mindset when it comes to searching for jobs, navigating the workplace, or just combating with all things related to COVID in the digital space that we're in now. So thank you guys for joining, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Woo.
Thank you, Isa. That was awesome.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks,
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Check out the links in chat before you head out if you need any information.
Yes.